Hey Jenny, can you hear anything in town hall?
No, I can't. I was just texting Melanie.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Let me work on that. Hold on. Oh, there we go. We got you now.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Still, you can turn me down. Okay.
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Well, I hope to make,
Jenny, I'm making you a phone
Okie dokie.
in case we need it.
Okie dokie.
Should be good all the way. Looks like Jordan is pretty popular on.
That's for that way somebody else. It's like, see ya. I didn't see that. That's how we went on. Great thing. Yeah. That was funny because earlier Jenny and I were having a conversation that we saw your kids and your husband and never saw you. Sometimes I don't even know. I was getting some steers, so I was riding late. And that was fun, right? And David never gets to be home for that work. And he'll be in charge. Yeah, and Joy was excited because that jersey was coming. And his parents.
So you gotta put the scooter away for one?
And we, yeah.
You know, when we were out, you see, in Europe in general, we saw a lot of scooters, small motorcycles. It makes a lot of sense, especially if you live and work in the city. Yeah.
Speak up.
Ready? Okay. Call to order. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. roll call.
Thank you. Trustee Zenz,
Present.
trustee Evans,
Here.
trustee Price, or trustee Winkleblack, I'm sorry.
Here.
Beautiful.
Please.
Trustee Price.
We thought that she-
She's not in the room.
She's not in the room, but
Okay. And Mayor Wilcox.
here,
Thank you.
they may have some problems getting out of their driveway. We had about 2.5 inches of snow and it was really slick, so I don't know about trustee Price. She may show up in a few minutes. Any changes, additions to the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, first one's not on the agenda. Please limit your comment to 3 minutes and address your comments directly to the mayor. Identify yourself by name and address. When making comments, comments should be courteous, civil, and constructive. The town board will make no decision nor take action except to direct to the town manager. Okay, we have Dan Courier. Steve. Evening. I'm here to talk about Blackfoot Valley Creek, but actually not. I'm here to thank the town and the help I got from the maintenance crew installing the door in the library. And just to let you know how much we appreciate all the help that's gone on with that. And it's essentially finished. And I say essentially finished. We've still got to put the sign up over the door. I don't know how quickly we're gonna get that done, especially since it's snow. But I do want you guys to know, we really appreciate the fact that town, first of all, let us do it. And then the maintenance guys can help out whatever I need to do.
It looks amazing.
And the other thing is that on the 14th, of December, when the Cowboy Christmas event is that friends of the library would like to invite you all from the town and everyone else. We're gonna have a display of historic photographs and newspapers to promote the idea that the fact that we have all the Blackfoot historic newspapers posted on our historic newspapers website. So, and also during that, there will be some craft vendors. It's all going to be over the Congregational Church dining on the 14th. Anyway, thanks for everything you've done for us, especially since we finished up the North Library. I wanted you guys to know we really appreciate all the things that the town was able to do to help us do. Well, thank you. Thank you. Teresa Wilcox.
Good evening, board and staff. First I need clarification. 3 months ago, I came in and talked to the county administrator and asked how many times she could be put on for 3 minutes. She would prefer, it was brought to my attention, you can, if it's an issue, we can put it on the agenda. But if it's just a few items, you know, you can sign up. I said, so you can sign up 5 different times or whatever. So I need clarification on that. I don't want to cause any dissension between people. I just need to know what is the ruling on that.
You need a little longer than 3 minutes to finish up the thought. That's up to, it says in here that the mayor can let you do so. I don't know if there's a specific law or rule for that, but.
So if I have like 5 different items, for example, the first item is the sign by Terrell in the Peril Park, it's going down, children playing.
Right, and we have discussed that in our budget.
Okay, I was not here last month due to health issues, so I didn't know where that stood. I came in, talked to Jenny. That was also when I talked to the town administrator. Jenny got right on it. Do you know when it's gonna be put up? I did talk to the sheriff on Sunday because of the cars going back and forth. And the reason why I was approached by was I had a citizen said, 3 of them, that they don't have something done around that area, someone's gonna get hurt, one of the kids. And they were at the point they wanted to call CPS. So don't call CPS. Let's see if we can get this resolved, get a sign up from Clancy going east, going west before Wagon Wheel. From there, that would be great. We used to have the sign up. I don't know what happened to the signs.
Yeah.
But
There's been no permanent decision made, but we have talked about it.
There has been, and staff is putting signs up now.
middle ones, okay, so we done in a couple of months or a month, or do you know?
No, I
Estimated,
suppose it will depend on the weather at this point, but they've been putting the signs up. I actually had somebody come in and comment that the signs looked great, so. Somebody's seeing them.
so there is a sign that says slow down, children playing, I hadn't seen it yet, so. I was just out Sundays. Okay, well, I didn't know that, thank you very much. That was the one item. I guess I will go ahead and get with the town administrator, get on the next month's agenda on these other items. They will take longer than 3 minutes, so. If that's fine.
That'd be fun.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
There's a Joel.
Good evening, I'm Rachel Showalter. I'm choosing to speak tonight because unfortunately I've been very frustrated with the results of this current board, and specifically sometimes individual members. It's really difficult actually to express truly how disappointed I am. Since even before the election, I felt that some board members have continued to bring about distress and disdain and even chaos to situations that might not warrant it. And I'm worried that some speak frequently about transparency and the importance of open and honest communication with the community, and yet in their actions speak otherwise. When discussing issues on Facebook, my name has been used frequently as I own the local newspaper, and yet I've been blocked from seeing those posts. And the only way I have seen them is that people have shared them with me. I am still limited to see what some people's Facebook pages, and I don't need to see everybody's Facebook page. That's not the point. But the point is, if the idea is transparency, when I do on the newspaper, if you're speaking about ideas that need to be done in the newspaper or about myself specifically, I do feel that it would be fair to at least let me know about those items in person first before going public with them. In a recent letter that was sent out to gather support for a current recall, I did not receive a letter in the mail, and yet I am a voting member in this community. But many of the people to whom those letters were sent live outside of the town limits and do not vote. But many who did not receive the letter do live inside the town limits. Is this the definition of transparency and truly being the voice of the people? Only handpicking to whom we send information to? Last month I was at this meeting and it took 35 minutes to approve the town minutes from 2 different meetings. They argued over semantics. At one point, a board member even offered to approve the minutes with the changes suggested by a trustee, and yet those minutes were still not voted in favor of by that trustee. Even the town attorney believes that all rules were followed within certain meetings that were written about in the minutes, and yet we seem to be trusting community members instead of our own town attorney. Members of this current board are actively encouraging disunity with our community, and being the voice of the people means giving equal access to all voices, whether you agree or disagree. And I truly believe this board cares. I really do. I really believe it. I believe you want to bring about positive change. I do. But this isn't the way to do it. This is no different than the same injustices that have been plaguing the town as done in the past. Finally, I'm disappointed that members of this board have encouraged this recall. Recall should be saved for fiscal irresponsibility or theft or something illegal in nature. And yet I provided proof showing that the town did in fact advertise the positions. I ran them in the newspaper in January of each election cycle. It's also, I shared showing the Colorado statutes that you do not have to hold an election when it is uncontested. And I do believe that actually this exact same board might call for fiscal irresponsibility had the town held an election because of the cost. So if we truly care about fiscal responsibility, this recall goes against what we care about. It goes against transparency because I find no just cause for a recall. Simply, the only thing I can tell there's a recall is a lack of agreeing or an inability to come to common cause. And I believe you guys all can do this together. I think each one of you brings an important position and important perspective. And I believe you guys could be a really fantastic board if you choose to work together. Be a board that moves forward together, not focuses on the past or the wrongs that have done in the past. I by no means think everybody's perfect, but we all deserve some grace. Thank you.
Yeah. I'd like to make a comment myself. After the last board meeting, I did circle back around. The only reason I circled back around was because I meant to and forgot to at the workstation acknowledge our manager and our finance manager, Carla and Melanie, for the hard work on the budget, because I know that it takes hours and hours and hours to put together a budget and present that before the board. Unfortunately, and then it was mentioned that there were some citizens who were concerned about having a meeting on election day. I probably should have saved that for tonight. Had I not come back around and acknowledged them, then there would have never been a discussion on the board via text. Anytime that there's more than 2 board members, whether it's via text or in conversation, it is against the law, it is against the rules. And that's why I abstain from those texts and conversations. Our manager and I have discussed that, and it is perfectly fine for her to send out notifications to the board, but for the board to get involved in a conversation through text is inappropriate and not transparent to the rest of the public. And it's happened more than once. I've spent at least an hour and a half on the line with Sursta. So we all have our good attributes, as you say, and none of us are perfect. But that's something I think that we really need to curtail or think about, whether it's even the attorney said one trustee, and I consider myself, yes, I have the title of the mayor, but I am one trustee, as the DOLA instructor said, of basically a 5-person panel or judge. And so therefore I try to stay non-biased, and I don't participate on those. I try and stay out with Facebook, other than my own family and such, because it does affect people's perspective. At any rate, and there's one other thing. Once I was asked why I voted the way I did at one point, and in the book 17.3, once an item has been called to vote, it's been discussed and called to vote, member of the board or member may not explain their vote after the call for a vote. So that's one thing that I'd like for us to keep in mind as a board, and then when there is especially a bigger audience, if we could keep it respectful and not have clapping or loud conversation so that we can all hear. I know that I have a quieter voice than most, so I don't get heard on some of the video as much as I should, but I appreciate your patience. I'm learning, I'm trying, and we'd just like to move forward. Thank you. Item number 6, the approval of minutes for October 3rd, 2024. Is there any discussion?
There is one correction that needs to be made, on item 10. Under the motion, we should spell, trustee Price's name correctly.
I appreciate that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a vote, please? Okay.
We need a motion first. Mayor.
I apologize, well,
I move that we approve the minutes of October 1st with corrections.
I'll second.
we have a motion and a second. May we have a vote, please?
Trustee Evans,
Yes.
trustee Price,
Yes.
trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
trustee Zenz,
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Item number 7, approval of expenditures for October 2024. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
I move that we approve the expenditures of October 2024.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. May we have a vote, please?
Trustee Zenz,
Yes.
trustee Evans,
Yes.
trustee Price,
Yes.
trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passed.
thank you. Item number 8, presentation from Laramie Energy, Chris Park.
Yeah, I'll have a copy of the presentation if you need one. If not, I have some extras, that's what you'll do.
If anyone from the public would like a copy of the presentation, we can send them out. Good evening, town board members, staff, and the public. This is our 3rd time presenting to you this year, so we greatly appreciate your time and the opportunity to present to you again. Thank you. For second slide, before you is the agenda for tonight, and it's just going to be brief high-level details on another proposal that Laramie is pursuing, and also an update regarding drilling activities for this coming winter season. On slide 3, it's just a company overview. Laramie is an exploration and development company that solely operates in western Colorado. Our core operating areas are in Cascade Creek, north of Quebec, and of course here in Platte Valley. Slide 4, just kind of a brief overview of our involvement in Platte Valley. We've been here since 2017, and we're an active member of the community. Laramie operates 150 well pads, including around 940 wells. For the project proposal on slide 5, we'll cover the next few slides are going to cover Laramie's proposed 2024 ECLIN OGDP, which Laramie plans on submitting the application this December. For slide 6, it's just a general overview of our project. So in this OGDP, we're proposing 2 well pads. They're approximately 9 miles east of the town of Colburn. The nearest crossroads are Highway 330 and 65 and 710 Road. In addition to the 2 well pads, the OGDP will include new proposed access roads and buried pipeline infrastructure.
all of the disturbance will occur on privately owned property, so no federal lands, and Laramie is proposing to drill 48 new directional wells from these 2 well pads. The OGDP is not in close proximity to any of Colburn's public water system intakes. Next slide is just to cover an overview of one of the 12 pads that we're proposing, the Eklund 0993 1707. This is a 22 wells will be drilled from this well pad, and they will develop fee and federal minerals. The new access road will be constructed, and buried pipeline will be installed. And a new access road will be constructed, and a buried pipeline will tie into existing infrastructure owned and operated by Laramie. On slide 8, we have the Eklund 0993 1712, and the Eklund, and this pad will have 26 new directional wells, and they will develop fee minerals, which means private, and it will connect to infrastructure connected to the 1707. So we're kind of developing the pipeline first to the 1707 and then to the 1712 to minimize any disturbance. Duration, slide 9 talks about and discusses and shows the overall operational activities in each phase, the amount of days. This is directional wells. I know we presented earlier this year on the CCR, which are horizontal wells. They're a little bit longer wells and they take longer to drill. Those are about 24 days a piece. Directional wells are about 4.5 days to drill per well. So a little bit shorter duration. And then slide 10 is the overview. I know I've kind of presented on the overall OGDP permitting process, so I won't get into that tonight. But for this project, we do need to obtain local, state, and federal permits. So local, we have Mesa County. The Mesa County is an oil and gas location application that is per location. So we'll submit 2 applications, 1 for each well pad. And then for the BLM and for the federal minerals, we'll submit 8 APDs. Because there'll be 8 federal wells, and then to the state of Colorado, we will submit an OGDP, which will include 2 location assessment applications, and then overall cumulative impact assessment as part of the OGDP. And then on slide 11, this displays the anticipated timing of permitting. So we anticipate submitting the OGDP this December, same with the Mesa County application. Then we'll submit the federal application in either late January or early February. We anticipate the OGDP will go to hearing in the summer of 2025, and construction would occur in the fall of 2025, with drilling commencing in the spring of 2026. And that's all subject to timing of these regulatory agencies and how quickly they process our permits. Now I'll turn it over to Chris Clark for some updates.
Yeah, good evening, board. I just wanted to cover kind of the plans here in the next several months. You guys know what to expect. But also I know that this is like be the 3rd or 4th time we've come in front of you. And I may or may not seem odd, but just to add a little color to that. As part of the new permitting process through the state of Colorado, we're required to do some community outreach and other things and be a little bit more involved in providing updates and in the planning process. So it may seem like we have a ton of activity planned for the little town of Colburn, which we do have some activity planned, but really it's over the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, we have some stuff that's going to happen right now, but it's a 2-year time frame almost, probably from the time we conceptually start to think about a well pad, to go pick a well pad, go through the process, get it permitted. So anyhow, I just wanted to kind of set a little tone about that. So when you see us coming in front of you, it's not like, oh my God, Laramie's going to be up here going, gangbusters for the next 1.5 years. We hope that we are, but gas prices are pretty cruddy, so I wouldn't count on it. That being said, we do have 2 well pads, and I think briefed you on those a little bit before, but the Hayward 2509 and the BCU 14L, both well pads are, the Hayward's sort of up Harrison Creek, a little ways, several miles up and a little bit to the east. And BCU 14L is right near the access of 330. So just from an activity standpoint, so you guys are aware, we're actually going to start to move to the Hayward 1509 or 2509. I'd say probably around the 18th to the 20th of November. So just maybe a heads up, but if anybody has any questions about that, or if we need to do any coordination with schools or others as we do those rig moves in. So it'd be pretty intensive, I would say, for about a 4 or 5 day period there where they move the rig in. And they should be posted up there and drilling for really till February. We'll move down to the 14 now, but that's sort of an interfield move, so there shouldn't be a lot of traffic associated with that. And then we will actually hopefully start completing the wells up at the 2509 around the first part of February. So, and depending on what the board approves for us, that would be our board, of course. We will be completing both well pads into the first late winter, early part of spring, depending on timing, water, and so on and so forth. So I think the one thing I did want to point out that's a little bit different about what we're doing now compared to what we used to do. We will be hauling the cuttings off of both of these pads. So in the past, we've been able to leave some of the cuttings on location, and we use them as beneficial fill in the cut slope. And we still do that in certain circumstances, but due to topography and just how much room we have, we can't always do that. So we're gonna actually be hauling a lot of cuttings in this particular instance to Greenleaf, which is over off the Debec cutoff. So you may, through the entirety of the process, see dump trucks with some regularity. I would guess a couple a day, if 2 to 4 a day, depends on how they're doing, what the weather is, headed through town and headed to Greenleaf. So I mean, I guess that's really it as far as an update goes. Again, anything we can do to help, we'll make sure to let Carla know too. And I know a lot of times through community council, send out notifications and rig moves. And if we need to do anything special, again, notification wise or timing wise, we'll do our best to try to work on that. Luckily, it should be not a dusty time of the year, so we shouldn't have to worry about those kind of issues. And again, should see a little activity. So hopefully that is good for the businesses and the community in general. As long as I have the floor, I should have signed up to make a comment, but I did want to, if you'll allow me 1 minute.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to, again, as I guess I'd say a part-time resident of Colburn, been here for a long time and worked for Laramie Energy, PXP. I've been doing operations here for a long time, but I do think the recent transition to Mesa County Sheriff has been noted by us. I think the coverage has been better than it's ever been, in my opinion. I see, I know from our guys and from just as I guess a business owner, business operator in the valley, it's been, again, I don't want to throw the previous situation under the bus, but I will note that it seems to me like it is better coverage than we've ever had. I see a presence almost continually. So, and they've been very responsive. We've had some issues on a couple of roads where I thought we had others, and there's some of our people even that maybe weren't driving as quickly as we would have, or as slowly as we wish they would have. And I again mentioned that to the sheriff, and they were very good at responding to that and patrolling those roads and keeping that down. So anyhow, I do appreciate that, and I guess that's just my 2 cents and my observation. So short of that, I'm open to any questions. Katie's open to any questions if you guys have any.
We really appreciate it, especially, and I know you don't do the whole cleanup, it's a coordination of different companies and whatnot, but it really worked out. We know it was really beneficial to the entire community for the cleanup up at Terrell Park. So
Yes, well, again, that's been a good cooperative effort. We've done that now for, I don't know, this probably be the last year, was probably the 5th year, maybe?
Yeah.
6th year. I know we didn't, anyhow, it is. It's a great effort. We look forward to it, and I know the community looks forward to it because I see the loads of trash. Anyhow, and again, it's always been such a great cooperative effort, and I know the town and the guys in the maintenance in particular, we couldn't do it without them coming down and giving us a hand with the equipment. Is
they work well with your staff and everybody.
yeah, it's a great effort. So it's nice to have a win-win. So we'll look forward to doing it again next year.
Can you give me a brief overview of the reclamation process?
Yeah, as far as reclamation goes, so after we get done with drilling the wells, within 6 to 12 months, we have to do what they call interim reclamation. So interim reclamation, say if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but and we have to turn in plats and get it approved. But if the well pad is say 5 acres, which is what we need for drilling, once we get done completing the wells, get them on flow back, get them into production. We'll come back in and do what they call interim reclamation. So we'll take that 5 acre pad, and basically minimize it down to say a 2 or 2.5 acre pad. And stabilize it at that point, and that's where the pad will sit for the next 20 years, 25 years, till we come in and P&A the wells, and then we'll do final reclamation where we pull it back to native grade and vegetation. So
So you put all the vegetation, trees,
yeah, I mean, we don't plant trees oftentimes, but we do use native or vegetation, even for interim reclamation, we use seed mixes. I mean, if the landowner, again, a lot of it is split estate, so we default to the landowner first off. And if there's something they prefer we plant, we'll certainly do that. And if they have no druthers or no preference, then we default back to a native mix that the BLM has developed for various climatic zones throughout the valley. And a lot of that, when we go back with the final reclamation, and even a lot of times on the interim reclamation, if you're using a BLM seed mix, it's a mixture of grass, forbs, and shrubs, typically, not trees, but we do plant some sagebrush and rabbit brush and other, brushy, woody type vegetation, so.
I know it's been a long time, but in the past, it would be, as oil companies would do that, they would have a soil analysis to see which would thrive in the area.
We take
Yeah.
soil samples, like before we go out and construct it as part of our permit application, we do take soil pit samples and analyze the soils and then make sure that it is suitable to the seeds that we're proposing to use.
Yeah, we generally have really, there's always exceptions because some soil types are poorer than others. And I would say as an industry, we're really held to a much higher standard over the last 10 years than say they were back in the day. And we build that in on the front side. I mean, we really have to manage our topsoil like in the old days. You push it out, make a flat space, do it, and then, it was tough to get things to grow, but we have to really submit a detailed plan now. We have to manage all of our topsoil to keep it viable. And that's part of what we do during the interim reclamation too, is get that topsoil and get it spread back out over what we've reclaimed so that we can maintain that viability and get it stabilized. And then when we get ready to do final reclamation, we'll strip it off again, do that, and then redistribute the topsoil. So good deal. Well, y'all know how to get a hold of me if we have any issues or questions. Thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we say. Item number 9. Present proclamation for Brookway.
Yes, so Ashley is joining us via Zoom. And if you wanted to read that, and then approval by the board that we do the proclamation.
Okay. Whereas for almost 30 years, Hope West has been Colburn's community-owned nonprofit organization where people turn when facing life's most difficult times. And as a nationally recognized hospice palliative care, adult bereavement, and children bereavement program, Hope West provides care to more than 4,000 individuals each year. With every year, the need for Hope West services is growing, and hospice and palliative care month highlights the importance of comfort for those facing aging, serious illness, or grief. Hope West is privileged to provide exceptional care every day, helping patients and their families transform an overwhelming or fearful time into one of comfort, healing, and hope. And this public declaration celebrates our community's unique spirit of helping each other every day and honors the compassion of many nursing assistants, social workers, chaplains, physicians, counselors, registered nurses, and volunteers at Hope West. And hospice and palliative care for month. Palliative Care Month presents a unique opportunity to increase awareness of these programs and honor all who make them possible. Now therefore, I, Campbell Wilcox, by the power vested in me as mayor of the town of Colburn, do hereby proclaim November 2024 as Hospice and Palliative Care Month. In the town of Colburn, and also that the Board of Trustees encourage and support and participation of friends, neighbors, colleagues, and fellow citizens in hospice activities and programs, now and throughout the year. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the official seal of the town of Colburn this 5th day of November 2024.
I move that we approve this proclamation for Hope West.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
I greatly appreciate all that Hope West does in our community for everyone in all aspects of their mission. And we are very fortunate to have them as a community member.
Agree.
It's a wonderful organization.
We have a motion and a second. We have a vote, please.
Yes, sir. Trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
trustee Zentz,
Yes.
trustee Evans,
Yes.
trustee Price,
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley, for joining us.
Thank you all so very much. Obviously, we at Hope West, we so very much sincerely, with all the gratitude in our hearts, appreciate all of this. Your guys' support means so much to us. Thank you for helping us bring awareness to this month.
Thank you.
Item number 10. Possible approval of street closure permit for Cowboy Christmas Parade of Lights.
Yes, so this, we staffed on this parade. And we are shut down for a short period of time. This is one of our smaller parades. We go around the block a couple times to make it a little more exciting. So we just ask that we be able to do that again.
I think it's a great idea. I move that we approve the street closure permit for the Cowboy Christmas Parade of Lights.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a vote, please?
Yes, sir. Trustee Price,
Yes.
trustee Zentz,
Yes.
trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
trustee Evans,
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox.
Yeah.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Well, while we're on the subject of Cowboy Christmas, what are the plans for Cowboy Christmas?
We have, the town is not with, not having the craft fair and stuff. We have no extra plans besides the parade for, on the town's behalf.
I'd like to throw out that, this is my first year actually participating in the trunk or treat. I think it's a great effort on the town's part and the town's employees that showed up. The individuals, the organizations that posted all the little sites for the kids to go to. It was great. It was absolutely great. And the costumes was, I mean, so refreshing. And they're bringing in some of the adults that came out. So I really, you know, kudos to the staff for their efforts to organize this, and especially the little dance that occurred at the end. With Jenny and the boys got those boys out to dance. That's pretty amazing. You know what I mean? And so that was really fun to see.
Not everybody has a flash mob, right?
Item 11, direction to staff. Possible declaration of bus as surplus and directing town manager to make arrangements for sale or auction.
This came about through, budget sessions, budget work sessions. We have, as we have discussed, we have very low turnout for the ride that is offered. So if this bus van, isn't the most conducive, and our current van driver drives his own vehicle because this is not, again, very conducive. In the winter, it's extremely cold. In the summer, it's extremely hot. It has air, it has heat. Doesn't matter. There you go. It's got 50,461 miles on it. The tires are about 10 years old, but they're very weathercraft. There you go.
And the town, is there any possibility that the town could put this to use for some other purpose? Like if we're to have some kind of a town event like the rodeo or something and use it for a shuttle service or anything like that? Or is the cost to bring it up to usable standards too high?
I have not taken it in for a full inspection, so I don't know what it would cost to bring it up to it. It carries 8 maybe. So it's not a full sized, I don't know that. Plus you'd have to have a driver. So I don't know that there's much benefit to that. Right now, we're keeping it on insurance, and it will cost us quite a little bit to keep it or to get it road worthy.
In my opinion, as long as it has been sitting vacant, it probably would cost more than it's worth to bring it up to safety standards. However, I'm not an expert, but we do have one here sitting in the galley. Yeah, you know. If you have a comment on that, I would appreciate it.
I don't think it's worth. I mean, if there's not enough riders, it doesn't make financial sense. You know, if you only have 1 or 2 riders a week, you're paying insurance and fuel and all the rest of it.
I mean, the fuel bed is bad, or it's got a fuel injection system, it's gotta be all flushed and cleaned,
Even gas and fire to replace, and there's 6 of them.
you got gaskets that dry out and shrink, and gaskets that have rotted away. It just,
It's not that I'm advocating for that, I'm just
yeah.
asking the question.
Well, I think, we've talked about this on and off for a while, and I still think the best solution is to surplus it and see what we can get out of it. And move on with that. It's been sitting there and it's costing us insurance and it's just not being used.
I agree.
What do you think would be the best way, to list it for sale or just put it up for auction?
I would prefer to put it up for auction, take it to the auction house, but that is strictly up to the board.
I think that would be the best use of staff time is to put it up for auction and let the auction house handle all the details.
Yeah, I agree.
Just, we have a motion.
Have we heard from all of the board members on what they feel about this?
I don't have an opinion.
Gary?
I'm good. I mean, I think we just leave it to the town manager to, I think an auction is probably the best step of whatever, is the fastest way, so. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can see the vehicle, where is the vehicle?
I've actually ridden in it.
Now, it is at our storage yard, one of our yards.
Okay.
It's undercover, we try and, you know, do our things with it, it's just not a great van to put our residents in.
I wonder, do we have any idea what the value of it might be as it stands?
I do not.
Okay.
The auction house will determine that, right? Will they do a preliminary or?
No, I will probably do a little bit of a preliminary before I take it to them.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes if there's organizations that could benefit from it, that we could donate to. And then, you know, use the tax write-off with the maximum amount of money that it could be valued at. So now there might be some organizations that could use it. You know.
We're not.
We don't get tax write-offs.
I'm pretty sure we're not problem.
No, I'm not asking.
I don't think we get tax write-off.
No.
The town,
Oh, okay.
probably not.
And we did talk about that, but I think just thinking of what it would take to get it back up to running standard, it just doesn't make sense.
You know, the benefit didn't get Gary in the office. With the town donating it to a charity or a
Yeah.
church or whatever.
Right.
I can't.
That's what I'm saying.
So hard to whatever they do.
Church will be good mechanic.
Yeah.
And I would hate to donate it to someplace like that without it being in good running order.
Well, in the auction house, well, if you go to auction, it releases the town of liability.
Right.
Anything that you guys didn't disclose, say, the brake line they brought it, and they drove it from here. Like they just picked it up and drove it home, they got an accident, they could come back on the town and say, well, you didn't disclose the brake line go bad.
I move that we declare the 2001 Goshen van as surplus and direct the town manager to make arrangements to take it to auction.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a vote, please?
Yes, sir. Trustee Evans,
Yes.
trustee Price,
Yes.
trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
trustee Zenz,
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Okay. Item 12, and we'll move this to our manager approval of sale of 2022 Dodge Ranger.
We have put together a bid package. It went to every municipality in the state. And we did receive 3 bid offers. I have one for $40,000, one for $40,001, and one for $42,500.
And I recommend that we take the highest bid.
Well, I agree.
What's the blue book value? I don't have a blue book value. It's a 22 that hasn't been ran. It has the battery dead, the tires have been sitting, so I don't have a blue book value. In my bid package, I put together what we paid for it and what the up charges were. And these were your offers. What did we pay for it? We paid 33,000 for the vehicle and I wanna say 19 for the upcharge, for the, not for the upcharge, for the package for having it be set up. So they did all of the setup for us as opposed to having staff do it because it's much too much, but
So we're basically getting what we put into it, if we accept the highest bid. Pretty close to it.
Minus $10,000, but. Not quite, yeah, we're not going to get that,
No,
but
but-
it's not, it's also a.
Yeah.
Used vehicle.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a fair.
But they're even again, just sitting 2 years, the fuel system's gonna have to be gone through because today's fuel is not what it used to be unless you buy the clear fuel and pay the extra money. And that can be, I mean, it's pulling the fuel tank and it's quite expensive, but to do it safely and properly, but anyway. That would be up to the new owner.
Yeah, with that offer. Doesn't matter, like, if you're selling your vehicle, it doesn't matter if you put a camper shell on there, or a lift or whatever. The accessories don't make it worth any more money. So, I think you guys are actually coming up ahead.
It's in the
I
base
agree.
price. I move that we approve the sale of the 2022 Dodge Durango, the highest bid.
That's it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a vote, please?
Yes, sir. Trustee Zentz,
Yes.
trustee Evans,
Yes.
trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
trustee Price,
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passed.
thank you. Item number 13, approval of resolution number 9, series 2024. A resolution of the Board of the Trustees of the Town of Colburn, Colorado, approving an agreement with GovPro Consulting for independent hearing officer services.
So. We have received 2 recall petitions for one for Tilda Evans, one for Lorraine Zentz. There is a period of time that community members can file protests. We have had 5 filed, 5 or 6 filed. With that, it is probably, well, it is highly recommended by the Clerks Association that I not sit as the hearing officer to hear those protests because we would not want any questions. So I reached out through the Clerks Association. The expert came highly recommended. She's offering to do the hearing for $3,000. That includes her travel fees. And I think I included her resume, her list of jobs she's been doing for other communities. Copy of the contract and copy of the resolution.
Well, I just want to say that I think it's very sad that we have to go through this, that a board member feels like other board members need to be removed because they disagree and can't come to consensus. And looking at fiscal responsibility, I think this is very poor fiscal decision when we've got other things we need to work on in this community, that those thousands and thousands of dollars can be spent on.
I agree.
I would like to say that I would not, I didn't sign the petition. I told our manager, that beforehand, but it's not coming from one trustee. Several of the community members reached out and said, this is, I'm not gonna use the language that they use, but this is why we had an election this time around, and was part of the reason, even though I didn't aspire to become mayor, was asked if I would run and serve, and so I did, but I don't even know how many members of the town signed the petition for the recall. So I would just like to state that for the record, that it's not coming from one board member.
Well, I'd like to throw my 2 cents in, because when I look at the verbiage of the petition, there's absolutely no concrete reason why those 2 individuals should be recalled off of the board. It's all opinion, and there's no validation of anything that they've done illegally, untrustworthy. And if you look at how it was stated, it's, to me, it's just a ploy to take 2 people off the board, to get 2 other people on the board, because there's an agenda associated with that. And I would hate to lose these 2 individuals because of the ramifications that might follow that, affecting the town manager, affecting the town treasurer, financial advisor. I mean, it's far reaching. And I think if people want to get on the board, they can wait until this term is up. They can, put their name in the hat and get elected. But this is, to me, just a way to circumvent a way to get onto the board, as opposed to doing it the right way. And it's questioning the honesty and the integrity of these 2 trustees, and I have a big problem with that. That's my 2 cents. There's absolutely nothing on that petition that validates. It's just a matter of opinion. With the opinions that have been stated by people, so it's as Lorraine has said, the thing about right now, if we approve this, it's gonna be $3,000 for this individual. And who knows where it goes from there, and if it goes to a recall election, then it's just money spent. And a wasteful way, in my opinion. Upsetting. Say the least. It's not why I got on the board to deal with this kind of behavior.
And in the past, unfortunately, we've gone through the same thing and lost the whole board as most of staff. We had 1 staff member that did come back for the mayor. Other than that, everybody was gone, so we had to start all over with the town manager temporarily. We had an attorney help us out, Dave Griffith. That donated his time. It's not an easy thing to go through. It is not my fault, it's just I guess the citizens have a right, even though if they're unhappy, I said they were welcome to recall the whole board, including myself. Not just 2 people. So. All I can say is the will of the people, and I want to stay neutral. It's not an easy thing any way you look at it.
Well, I see that, Judy Egbert has lots of experience in, municipal rules and, hearings. I think she would be a good, person and a good nonpartisan neutral person to handle the hearing, the protest hearing. And I don't see any reason why we should not appoint her as our hearings officer.
Do we know what kind of time frame that she, that this would all take place?
The hearing will have been. The hearing will most likely happen next Wednesday or Thursday. We are under time constraints from the state. So, and then she has 5 days, I want to say, maybe longer, to then file her findings.
Okay.
She will be doing, well, I will be doing subpoenas for certain members and certain people in the community.
So do we have an idea of what, if we have the recall of what the cost is gonna be for an election? What is the basic cost for an election? I know it's a tough question, but I mean, ballpark, 10, 20,000?
Probably 10, 15. Again, I think under the circumstances, you should hire an outside entity to handle the election. And so I think we have somebody who will be part of that now. And that will cost money. Election stuff costs money. It costs money to have an election. So
When was the last election held in 2024? Previous to 2024.
So 2016
16 maybe. And that's because,
and maybe 2018,
no, I think that 18 we did not have an election.
so it was 2016.
But for the same reasons, there was no one running against anyone, so. The fiscal responsibility would be to not hold an election if there was just, each seat was filled.
Right.
Yeah.
So the process, if these two individuals are recalled, then we must hold an election to fill those positions.
I'll have the same time.
No, it will happen at the same time. What will happen is, if we move forward with the election, then there will be notice put out, and anybody who wants to run for the 2 seats, and they have to go through the process of getting signatures and doing that. Then your ballot will look something like, at the top, it would be, do you vote to recall so-and-so, yes, no? You vote to recall so-and-so, yes, no, and then basically there's a line, and then whoever's running for the board, it states on the bottom half, if so-and-so is recalled, vote for who you would prefer to be on the board. So if they are not recalled, then those are not counted. And if they are recalled, then the 2 people with the highest votes would then take the seats.
Or it could be one, it doesn't have to be both, but it.
No, it could be one or the other, or both, or.
Yeah.
So can the individuals who are being voted on to recall be on to be reelected?
No.
No.
That's where, if I understand it right, if the people can vote not to recall.
Right.
Or they also, if other people vote not to recall, they would maintain their seat. Is that correct?
So technically, they're still on the ballot and there's still, the people still have the choice to choose them.
Okay. Well, I know that we approved the resolution number 9, series 2024, the resolution of the board trustees for the town of Cleveland, Colorado, approving an agreement with the Gulf Pro Consulting for independent hearing officer services.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a vote, please?
Trustee Price,
Yes.
trustee Evans,
Yes.
trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
trustee Zenz,
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Waste of time and money.
Item number 14. The board may enter into executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402. Parentheses 4, parentheses E. To determine positions relative to negotiations with Optimus Communications concerning a communications site lease at Gandy Park, developing a strategy for those negotiations and instructing negotiators.
So it is recommended because we need to discuss advice with our attorney that we go into executive session. I would take a motion that we move into executive session.
I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402-4E to determine positions relative to negotiations with Optimus Communications concerning a communication site lease at Yandy Park, developing a strategy for those negotiations and instructing negotiators.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Okay, we have a vote.
Yes, sir. Trustee Zenz,
Yes.
trustee Evans,
Yes.
trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
trustee Price,
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
So I think what we will do here is we'll be clearing the gallery. If you guys want to, sorry, I know it's bad weather, but if you'd like to wait outside, you can. And then, I will let you know whenever we are done with the executive session. Unfortunately, that's the best way to handle that.
Left waiting outside, or did they all decide to go home?
No, they're next door. They're coming.
Okay, perfect. Well, we can wait for them to filter in then.
Yep, that'd be good.
Thank you for your guidance.
Just still snowing out there?
A little bit.
And thank you for your input on the video.
Yay, thank you guys for hanging in there.
Supporting Brandy's, it's good.
Yes. Local, we support the local, yes. All right.
Okay, anybody else left that you guys know of anywhere? No. Okay, then. We need to resume the meeting. And state the time again.
Meeting is being resumed at 8:15 on November 5th, 2024. For the open meeting, public meeting of Coburn, Colorado. And if I'm at the direct spot, attorney update from Wilson Scarberry.
Do we need to?
A motion.
Yes.
Moving forward with the discussion we just had.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion that we have the staff move forward with recommendations discussed for negotiators from the executive session.
I second the motion.
We've had a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a vote, please?
Yes, sir. Trustee Price,
Yes.
trustee Evans,
Yes.
trustee Zentz,
Yes.
trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox.
I will abstain.
Okay. Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you. So now. Attorney update from Wilson Scarberry.
Yes, and I'll try to keep this brief since we've been going late. The one thing that Melanie and Carla had asked for me to provide just a brief update on was some of the work we've been doing on the water line project from the school. I have been in touch with the folks at the county, and we are moving forward on getting the property for the water tank secured. The county's already pledged to give the town that property. We're just making sure we check all the boxes we need to check to get the land transferred. I have reached out to the school district attorney and will be moving forward on negotiating the IGA with them. That's going to work through sort of how the grant funds, to the extent that the grant is awarded to the town, will be shared between the town and the school, because ultimately DOLA will be basically reimbursing the town for the money it spends on that. So we're kind of keeping things moving there. And I think kind of the last piece is, Melanie, remind me, when do we anticipate to hear back from DOLA on whether the grant will be, whether the town will actually receive the grant?
In the next couple of weeks.
Okay. So we may or may not have any sort of action items or recommendations for your consideration at the next meeting. Kind of depends on how soon DOLA gets back to us and how quickly some of these other pieces move. It's possible, at the very least, we may have something on approving the transfer of land from the county. But the main kind of blocker there is we need to actually send someone out to get a legal description. And I still need to follow up with the county and see if we can actually, what it's going to take to get a surveyor out there. Am I forgetting anything, Melanie, that we had talked about during the meeting? I think that was everything, but
We'll go with that with everything.
okay.
And once again, I would like to acknowledge and thank Carla and Melanie for going over to the discussion in Ray on the water line and the whole grant. Because that was quite an extensive trip and extra time, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, you just wanted to see Ray.
Yeah.
We wanted to see one. We had to stay an hour and a half from work because there's nowhere to stay, but you know.
Started working there in February when it's 50 below zero.
But thank you, you and Carla, I appreciate the effort you put into this.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully when we hear back from DOLA, it will be good news. So we'll keep you posted. And with that, that's my update.
Thank you. Number 16, monthly staff update.
You guys have it in front of you. If you have any questions on it, I can try and answer them.
I just want to thank you guys again for the trunk and treat. It looks like it was a huge turnout and a great success for everybody. People are still talking about it, so,
Yeah,
and it was great.
pictures being shared and
Yes.
memories being made. So it's all about the future for those kids.
Can you give us a little bit more information regarding the SRSA claims for the tripping on the curb? And the program for community-wide sidewalk repairs?
Well, I mean, we filed the claim with SRSA. And we haven't heard anything back. Our code is very specific. It is the homeowner's responsibility to keep their sidewalks in repair. We keep the streets, homeowners keep the sidewalks. I'm just having an idea. I haven't been but my brain, so forgive me if it comes out a little crazy, but my thought process was that maybe we could start having discussions with community members now, and then possibly run a program next summer with Job Corps students and their concrete students. And because there's a part in there where then we don't pay the students, but we do pay for supplies. And so maybe the homeowner then could take on the supplies. They wouldn't have any labor, which I would think would be a great option. We could schedule it out so that maybe there's certain streets done on certain weeks. It would probably be an all summer thing because Job Corps students have very different schedules, so, and weather, and it's concrete, and so there's a whole bunch to play into that. But, and that's just an idea. I haven't taken that anywhere besides, as I said, my brain.
It would be easier to contract with the town versus individual homeowners.
Right.
On the Job Corps side, so that would be a viable solution potentially.
Yeah, we'd have to figure that out, because then I don't know how we would bill yet. So like I said, I am just throwing things out there. I haven't written it all down, but anyways, it's an idea. I would hope that we would save then homeowners quite a bit of money. That is definitely walk the streets, if you start walking the sidewalks. Unfortunately, I believe our code says the mayor has to send everybody a letter telling them they have 30 days to fix their sidewalks. I don't know that, that's exactly.
We want to do that, yeah.
Well, I don't know that that's what we want to do, right? I think what we want to do is let's see how we can help our community. So, we can't do concrete work during the winter. We'd have time to create a program of some sort.
I think that's a great idea. The only thing I would add to it is some of the damage, and it's gonna happen every year. When the streets are plowed or cleared, you can't see, the operators can't see, and so it isn't just, obviously not the sidewalks, but the curbs themselves get chipped and cracked, and then once the crack is there, the water gets in and freezes and breaks it away, so.
I think some realistic expectations of what sidewalks are gonna look like, would probably be good, yes.
My main concern is Mrs. Keys did fall in front of her own house, but she busted her head open, but. You know, I told her, we do have to address this issue and have to get your sidewalk fixed, because then if a child or somebody trips and butt their head open, she is financially responsible for that. And that's something, besides Lorraine's house, the sidewalk is like this. I mean, if kids decide that's a great skate jump and break their neck, you're financially responsible. You know it's there, you haven't corrected it, that's what our code reads. So we need to definitely address this issue. I know that not every resident knows this is their fault. I've debated extensively with Mrs. Keys, and I have read her the ordinance several times. And her friends who are upset that this happened, and it is what it is.
And I don't know how many people, but I would strongly suggest that, the town may somehow notify the public not to use certain types of salts or whatever, because everyone's finished with the concrete and.
It does.
Well, and it's probably that time of year when maybe in your town tidbits or whatnot, that we remind property owners that they are responsible for clearing the sidewalks of snow. And in that, you know, we can discuss maintenance, winter maintenance.
Well, that's every year, do that, and so, yes.
Not everybody gets the newspaper, and it really needs to go out for. Because not everybody gets the newspaper.
It has gone,
Or whatever.
we'll make sure it doesn't happen.
Can we include it in monthly bill?
Yeah, because I've seen it there.
And on town website, and, you know, all the usual places.
Quick and easy. It looks good. Okay.
I think those were the only questions I had with the staff report.
Trustee informational memorandum, the future agenda.
Yes, last month in our lengthy board packet, came out that we are charging in-town rates for out-of-town water users and tap fee, sorry, to connect to the water and sewer. And it says we propose that we determine the number of out-of-town. I think anything that needs to be proposed to the board needs to go on the agenda, so I'd ask that this issue be brought to the agenda next month.
We can do that the way, at this point, the way I was thinking, because right now, the only, place that it affects is the school water line. And so we could handle that whenever we were doing budget discussion at IGA.
Oh,
Well, it affects a lot. It affects our reserves for the water and the sewer. And I think it needs to be brought to the board and it needs to be addressed on the agenda.
As to how to fix previous tap fees or moving forward. Moving forward, I think that they already know that this should be twice the amount and they just need to fix the paperwork. And that doesn't take additional board action.
Other in several people.
So
To that
people,
quote.
so people that have already received taps,
No,
is that,
did you read the letter?
so you're talking about the agreement with the school?
With those, yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
It's not, it's with those homeowner.
yeah.
And yes, because they were quoted the $4,500. There is the option to
honor that.
Right.
We didn't quote them $4,500.
Yes.
And we have
we
to-
did,
The school did.
no, the school asked me. And I told them,
The wrong price.
yes, ma'am.
Well-
$4,500 because we haven't done out of town water taps, all of our previous paperwork. Here at the town hall from many years states that it's $4,500. After a meeting here in town, whenever somebody in the audience asked, are the tap fees separate for out of town residents?
They were different. I asked if they were the same or different during the.
Yeah. As I said, somebody here asked, and so then I went back through the code, I did see where it was, and I brought it to your attention.
And I noticed that with that list, there was one, maybe two, that actually got charged the full rate.
One.
So only
Correct.
one out of the 8 or 10 got the full rate, and so everyone else got the lower rate. And so to me, they got the bargain, and that's fine. We can't go back and ask them to up it.
I'm not asking them to, but moving forward, everybody needs to pay the.
Well, and I agree, but
That's not what they want. They want to move forward and give that special rate to people already.
well, along the water line, but it's already been quoted to them.
Right.
So for us to go back and say, I want twice that, I don't agree with that, because that's not good community service. I think
Well,
we need to honor that, and then from here forward, absolutely, we need to adjust paperwork, so when another person from out of the city limits comes and wants a water tap, then all the paperwork agrees and they're gonna know, then it's gonna be $9,000 instead of $4,500. But to go back to these people that we've been trying to work through to get this water line to our students at the school, I think we need to honor that.
It's not just them. It's 3 places up Cedar Crest, it's 5 houses, there's no addresses or names named. Again, what's
Okay,
good
so-
for one is good for all, so we can't.
So where are these water, I mean, we have people wanting water taps and they've been promised $4,500 already.
In the packet, do you want me to read it to you? It was just kind of in the end of the school discussion that, what the staff is proposing, but they didn't bring it to the agenda. They just said, we propose that we determine the number of out-of-town parties who were quoted the incorrect tap fee and that the town reserve an amount equal to cover these additional tap fees in the general fund. At this point, we believe it is 5 landowners along the school water line and 3 developer taps near Cedar Crest Lake for a total of 8 properties at $4,500 or $36,000. If and when any of these impacted parties apply for a tap, we will bring to you a variance request to charge them the quoted $4,500 and pay the remaining $45 from the general fund reservation. We propose this grace period expire on 12/31/29. At which time those landowners will be required to pay the full $9,000. And going forward, everyone else will have to pay the full, so we can't. It's our job as board members and staff to uphold the ordinance. And I can tell you, I was quoted through CenturyLink, a landline for $35 a month, basic landline, and then when I called back 2 weeks later, that quote was no longer available, because I didn't walk into that price that day. Why would we give these guys 5 years? It was a quote and it was a mistake. And now we have to go back to the drawing board and say, we made a huge mistake. And this is actually the ordinance. It's all of our jobs to hold up the ordinance. And at some point, we're gonna get some attention from the state level if we continue to hem-haw around and not hold up the state statutes and our local ordinance.
If I may interject, before all of this, the tap fees were many years ago. When we first moved up there, it was $500, it went to $1,500. Until the point that the town came to Teresa and I for the land behind the park. with the and the board at that time. And then it went to $4,500, but when it went to $1,500 and of course, a total different administration. Whenever somebody paid for a tap fee or sign on, they agreed to annex into the town. And per state statute, which has been before we moved up here, if somebody's septic system fails for whatever reason, and they are within 500 feet of the town sewer line, or and it goes for the water as well, that they were required by the state to hook up to the town facilities. And
Well, what I'm trying to say, a quote was made, it was made in error. It does not represent what our own ordinance says, and it's a quote, it's not a contract. So we need to address this issue, we need to come to a decision as a board. And it needs to be
So, and I just want to say, I think I maybe started cutting you off slightly too soon, because you got to the point I was going to interject to make, which is this should be a future agenda item. That the town can't make a decision on this tonight because it hasn't been properly noticed on the agenda. And it was, indicated earlier that, there was some concern about the town making decisions at improper times. So I just want to say, you can't make a decision on this tonight, but can certainly take the direction forward to staff to have an item on the agenda at a future meeting.
I would agree to have that on the next agenda.
It'll be on the December agenda.
And we work.
I would also like to have a decision or discussion to add the job descriptions back to the employee handbook. And job requirements.
And I'm open to the discussion.
I don't know when those were taken out, so. I wonder if there isn't. Maybe we'll talk to Wilson about.
Maybe
That,
at least a discussion item.
because they haven't been in since I've worked here in the last 10 years, so. But I will check and make sure that we don't have any reasons that they aren't in there.
Well, at least a discussion item. You can see where we're at.
I don't know if that would be a good time to add to the agenda, since we're talking about how it affects everybody and going back on the town's word, but that's what happened in 2006 when the town came to Teresa and I to divide and change, rearrange the lot lines. We paid for half of it, the town ordered, and it's on the plat, the town ordered survey. And went through the process and approved everything, including showing that the taps were paid for 807 Wagon Court. And then without any call notification letter, I received a call from the audience the next month. And it was actually, I believe it was the second meeting that Jim knew had been at, and he had been, and Jim knew all the new downboard at that time. There was no need to include the tap fees. Since Teresa and I signed the plat, it gave the easement, it gave the town easement to that 10-foot strip so the town could use it. So. I, of course, would recuse myself from voting or anything, but, I don't know, what do you recommend on that, Mr. Scarberry?
Sorry, you said you were recusing yourself from making a decision on which part of this, the charging tap fees.
The secondary, if they wanna go back and treat like they're talking, you know, if we quoted these people half the price, then we shouldn't go back on our word and then charge them the full price. I would like to go back to that. What happened to my wife and I, it was not, we didn't even come to the town, it was the town that came to us to rearrange, and they wanted to clean up some lot lines, so I said I didn't want any money. All I wanted was, it should have been shown anyway, because the stubs are there. And Carl Bonstead can't find the records, but he paid for them because he intended on building on that lot. At any rate, in 2006, the town ordered the survey, had everything done. It was all approved for the taps and everything, and then the very next meeting, standing right at that door, Jim New explained to the board that since the plat was signed, Edith Ann and Mark Sullivan, since the plat was signed, it gave the town legal easement to that back 10 feet of the park, and it goes completely from Jenny's house, from that lot line of the fence all the way across the park to our current residence and vacant lot. The only thing that I did over the years was put in a ditch to protect our neighbors' crawl spaces, because they were being flooded in the spring and when they irrigated. And once again, I did that at my own will, didn't ask for anything. So
I think that's a discussion that should be had with the administrator and the attorney prior to coming to the board.
I was just asking if that should be put on the agenda.
And my
Yeah, I
thought
mean,
is something that should be discussed with the town administrator and the attorney prior to coming to the board.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of address some of these issues around the sort of question of fairness. I mean, since or at least I just want to indicate that you know that if the board were to agree to waive the tap or the double tap fees, only charge the single tap fee for the school district because of some of the kind of misrepresentations were made. At least as far as I understand the issue, there is nothing illegal about that under state law, since there was some reference to the state coming in and having some consequence for the town for doing that. As far as that has been described to me at this point, there is nothing illegal about going on there. So I just want to make sure to correct the record on that.
Well, we can't just be dipping into the general fund that is funded by taxpayers, that's the people's money, every time we make a mistake. Like, oh, it's no big deal, take from the general fund again.
I mean, that's a policy question, certainly for the voters, but it's not illegal.
Well, there's also when was the last time that we had a tap fee raised? Because I took time to call several other municipalities, and our board is real good at raising the actual fees, monthly utility bill, but we are not good at raising the tap fee to the times, and we need that money in reserves to repair and maintain the water lines and the treatment facility that we have.
I think
Correct.
it was done in 2006 because at the time we entered into the agreement with the town, they were $1,500 a piece, and then the very next month, where it was 2006, it went to $4,500
Well,
for water and sewer.
we're gonna be having a discussion about that on November 19th.
Yes.
So that's the time that we can discuss about raising tap fees if necessary.
And then, yeah.
Okay.
I would like the board to consider sending a letter to the Mesa County Board, County Commissioners regarding, having at minimum, a ballot drop box in Colburn or any incorporated town in Mesa County, because I think that they are doing a disservice to members of the county who live outside of the Grand Junction municipal area. And, you know, by requiring people who do not want to trust the animals to travel 45 miles or more, in some cases, to deliver their ballots or to vote in person. And I know that the elections clerk has said, well, we don't have the money, and I don't think that's a valid argument. And I think that we need to let our thoughts be known.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. At one time, once a month, they used to have the license plates, come up and work right there in the office so we could get our registrations, license plates. I mean, we can get a bin inspection for it at any time.
They've got, you know, multiple sites within the Grand Junction area, and they can't service the rural areas. I think that's unfair and out of line.
So you're saying we can trust them to mail our ballots, but we can't trust them once we mail the ballots in? That sounds a little contradictory to me. But I'm not opposed to what you're saying, but if you don't trust the mail, I mean, they got you the ballot. I guess you could trust them to that point, huh?
You're sort of suggesting that we put together a letter from the town, the board of Colburn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because, you know, there are some people, okay, I meant to mail it, and then it's too late, so I gotta drive it down there, and. Yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing on our, once in a while, we will hand our neighbors their mail because we all have one joint mailbox. And the same thing has happened vice versa, where they have returned it to us, and other times they just toss it out if it's not their mail.
Oh, wait, my dad didn't want his mail. He wanted me to drop it off in the drop box. And I had to drive a function to do that for him. So I think it'd be awesome.
I can bring a letter forward.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Anything else? For the good of the order.
So I'm ready to get to the work session.
Okay, so the upcoming meeting dates are November 19th, 2024. And the December 3rd, 2024, which is a regular board meeting. Public hearing regarding the 2025 budget. November 19th is a board work session for the 2025 budget. So,
We do have a couple of items that may be adjusted to be a special meeting.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I move that we adjourn and move to a 2025 budget work session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a vote?
Absolutely. Trustee Zentz,
Yes.
trustee Evans,
Yes.
trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
trustee Price,
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed. Meeting adjourned at 8:50 PM.
Okay, so, I'm gonna keep Carla on